I'm travelling to Guyana, like the only English-speaking country in South America, and I'm travelling down the length of the Essequibo River, which is the longest river in Guyana, hoping to bring awareness to biodiversity and conservation of the country itself.
So if you're going there for a month, I guess this river's quite long, is it?
It is, yeah. It's near enough 1,000 kilometres, which is about 600 odd miles.
Wow. And will you do the whole lot in that time?
I'm going to do from a city called Bartica, so I'll probably end up doing about 400 miles of it, down towards Apateri, which is a tiny indigenous community, and then into Rewa, which is another indigenous community.
How big is the boat you're travelling in?
It's just a two-man boat called an alpaca raft, which is a portable raft, which is created by people in Canada, and it's just, you can blow it up, wrap it up and fit it in the back of your backpack.
It doesn't sound like it's the most comfortable trip that anybody's going to make.
No, it's going to be, especially the nights in the wilderness, like in the jungle itself, they'll be like amongst the most uncomfortable. But I'll have a breather, you know. I'll be staying at a place called Iroquois, which is a tiny little hut in the jungle for 2 nights, so I break up the uncomfortableness.
Yeah, I mean, I'm just thinking from a safety point of view. I mean, this will be presumably a tidal river, will it?
Yeah, I mean, I'll be going in the dry season, so it won't be as full as it can get. So it's like the tidal's up in Georgetown, which is like a 12-mile estuary, which I'll be quite some way away from, so I should be all right.
So there's you in this raft, and is it a big paddle, is it?
It's there's a single paddle, which is like got a bend in the middle, which I can use with both of my hands.
You obviously know all about this raft. Have you actually tried one before then?
I've been in one. I've spent about maybe a week in one once, maybe a year and a half ago. So I'll have to brush up. Maybe brush up. I've got some taster sessions again next month.
I mean, I'm just thinking it through. I mean, it's a very laudable reason that you are going. I mean, just the logistics of doing this, you are totally by yourself.
Yeah.
I mean, is it inhospitable country?
It is.
In terrain?
Guyana's probably one that's rated amongst the, say, for example, one of the poorest countries in South America. So there's, in the main cities, there's quite a bit of crime. But in the jungle itself, there's obviously the inhospitable parts, which is the animals, the parasites, and I mean the jaguars and all sorts that are in there.
Wow.
Yeah.
So you're going to stay on this raft on the water, are you? You're not going to be on land too much?
The Essequibo River has a bunch of rapids and waterfalls throughout its distance, so I've got to get off the raft at, I think it's 5 points, and I'll travel through the jungle until I meet the river again, past the waterfalls.
The more you tell me about this, the more I'm fearing for you. But I mean, you what, a year or so ago, you did something similar, didn't you?
Yeah, January, early this year, the 4th of January, I went to a place called the Darien Gap, which is another kind of quite a dodgy area in Central America, and I travelled up in and around there, which is Panama and Colombia, on the border of Panama and Colombia, which again I enjoyed, and I learnt a lot.
But you've got to make some plans, haven't you, just in case anything does happen or go wrong?
There's things in place, like detailed risk assessment, people in the UK that are aware of it, my insurance are aware of it, the government, like the Homeland, like our FCO government, the Commonwealth Office, they're aware of my travels. When I get into Guyana, I'll let them know of it.
So have you got a satellite phone or something?
I have. I've got the sat phones, which is, and I know a thing called a spot device, which is it's a live tracking. So anybody in the world, if they've got access to the internet, they can follow me. And if there's an emergency, a special situation, you can press a button and it gets to the GEOS emergency rescue service team.
It's just floated through my mind you going into an insurance office and saying, this is what I'm going to do, and watching their face.
I've tried to, I've maybe 7 insurance companies, and 2 of them I said if that they could, but the others said no, we won't.
Right. So let's just, in the time we've got left, talk about what you're actually doing. I mean, it's called collecting biodiversity samples. We're talking plants and things like that.
It's microbe samples, which is scat of animals, and I've been asked by a company called Adventure Science, which I will collect them, send them back on my return, which is all adds up to a collective of people all over the world that are doing it, which gets at the forefront of science and the conservation of especially the region in South America.
What's attracted you to this particular venture? I wonder?
There's not many people that go to Guyana. I mean, when we talk to most people, they always wonder where it is. But again, I mean, 80% of the country is just in jungle, so it's at the forefront of conservation and biodiversity. So it's just in a dense jungle.
So I'm kind of guessing that your interest in conservation has been with you for a long time.
Since I was a young man, since I could read, I started getting books from the library. I've still got some of my first books that I got from the library, and I've read them, most of them back to front, and I learned so much with that.
Apart from concentrating on the raft and your survival, do you have any time to sort of sit and read when you're doing this or anything like that?
Yeah, like the research of the area, or I've done a lot of research through it, so I'm kind of clued up to the best it can be. Well, just anything can happen, really.